Hello and welcome to Hope After. This podcast is for couples navigating the impact of pornography on their marriage, and today's episode speaks directly to men. If you found yourself thinking, what does she actually need from me now? If you've tried reassurance and watched it land flat, if you've made changes and still feel like everything you do somehow makes things worse, then this episode is here to slow the whole thing down, because helping your wife heal is not about finding the right words. It's not about performing remorse convincingly, and it's not about accelerating her recovery so the marriage can feel normal again. It's about becoming someone she can be safe with again. And that shift from fixing to becoming safe is where many men either mature deeply or quietly stall. If you want deeper structure and accountability around this stage, then the program we offer is linked in the show notes. It's designed to support men in living this out consistently, not just understanding it once. For now, let's talk honestly about what actually matters when it comes to your wife's healing. Now, many men reach this stage almost pleading for instruction. Just tell me what to do. If I knew what would fix it, I'd do it. Just give me the steps. And on the surface, that sounds reasonable. It sounds proactive. It sounds like leadership. But underneath, it is often a subtle misunderstanding, because healing isn't produced by a checklist. Healing is produced by safety over time. And safety is not something you can install like a new app. It's something your wife's nervous system slowly relearns through repeated experience. So if you've been waiting for a list that will solve this, I'm going to gently disrupt that. There are patterns that help, there are behaviours that harm, but there isn't a formula that fast forwards her body back to calm. What she needs is not more intensity, she needs steadiness. When women are hurt, many men move into fixing mode almost automatically. It's how they're designed. They explain, they reassure, they promise, they analyse what went wrong, they outline how it won't happen again. And again, the intention is often good. You don't want her in pain. You don't want the marriage tense. You don't want to sit in that helpless feeling of having caused harm. But trauma doesn't heal through explanation. It heals through constant embodied safety. When fixing becomes the focus, women often feel subtly managed. They feel like their reaction is a problem to be solved rather than an injury to be honoured. They may even feel responsible for calming things down so you don't spiral into guilt. And that dynamic quietly transfers pressure back onto her. She becomes the one who has to stabilise the room. That does not restore trust. That deepens exhaustion. Now, I remember saying to Jez at one point, I don't need you to make this better. I need you to stop making it harder. And I was nervous saying it because it felt confrontational, but it wasn't meant as an attack. It was meant as clarity, because sometimes what men call helping is actually relieving their own discomfort. Jez, can you share a simple reflection on what it felt like to hear that?
Well, to begin with, I was initially confused because I thought that if I did everything I was supposed to do that was aimed to fix the problem, that would be enough, and then you would be okay.
Yeah, and that moment changed something for us, because what I needed wasn't urgency or fixing or strategy. It wasn't a 10-point recovery plan delivered at high intensity. It was steadiness. It was the sense that I didn't have to rush my nervous system forward to make you feel successful. When a woman feels she must calm the situation to protect her husband's growth, she does not heal, she performs, and performance isn't healing. So what does a woman actually need to heal? What genuinely supports a woman's healing? First, honesty that doesn't depend on being asked. When truth only appears under interrogation, safety does not grow. Proactive honesty communicates, you do not have to police me to be safe. Second, consistency that does not fade with time. Early recovery often comes with intensity, filters, meetings, long talks, emotional declarations. But what builds trust is what remains when the crisis atmosphere fades, the ordinary days, the quiet transparency, the continued structure. Third, emotional presence without defensiveness. This means listening without correcting her memory, without explaining why she's misunderstood, without subtly reframing events to reduce your discomfort. Fourth, boundaries that are respected, not negotiated away once things feel calmer. If she needs space, that is not rejection. If she needs access, that's not punishment. If she needs time, that's not cruelty. None of this feels dramatic. It feels almost boring, but boring consistency is what allows the nervous system to stand down. Your wife does not heal because you feel deeply. She heals because you remain steady. For couples of faith, this stage can feel particularly confusing. Some men have absorbed the idea that leadership means taking control, directing the emotional climate, or pushing toward resolution. But biblical headship is not dominance, it's responsibility. Jesus did not heal people by silencing them. He didn't rush their process. He didn't demand gratitude for his efforts. He created safety and invited response. Leadership after betrayal looks like humility without collapse. It looks like initiative without control. It looks like repentance lived quietly over time rather than performed dramatically in moments of crisis. Jez, one simple reflection. What changed for you in how you saw leadership?
Well, leadership for me at that stage meant I had to focus much more on becoming responsible, not managing the outcome.
Thanks, Jez. So, what makes things worse? Well, there are patterns that repeatedly deepen harm, even when intentions are good. Asking, when will you be okay again, subtly pressures her to speed up. Framing her pain as something she needs to overcome suggests her reaction is the real obstacle. Comparing your marriage to another couple's who seems fine minimizes the uniqueness of her experience. Quoting forgiveness without embodying repair turns faith into a tool of avoidance. These responses do not make women feel ungodly, they make them feel unsafe, and safety cannot grow where reality is minimized. So, I want to just say a word here about patience. Now, patience is not passive, it is active restraint. It's choosing not to rush closeness because you miss intimacy, or not to demand reassurance because you're feeling insecure. And it's choosing not to center your discomfort when she's describing her pain. Patience proves that change is real, not because it looks impressive, but because it demonstrates something profound. You can tolerate discomfort without escaping, and that matters more than any speech. Jez, just add a short line here for men about patience.
Yeah, well, patience is a really important part of this process. For me, it meant staying steady even when I felt uncomfortable.
And that means like sitting in those awkward moments and having those awkward conversations and not trying to rush forward. Yeah.
Yeah, 100% that.
Okay, on to a really tricky section now. What you can and cannot do. There are things you can do. You can show up consistently. You can tell the truth without waiting to be cornered. You can respect boundaries even when they're inconvenient to you. You can do your own work. So that's therapy, accountability, spiritual formation without turning your wife into your coach. She shouldn't be your coach. But there are also things you cannot do. You cannot heal her for her. You cannot control her timeline. You cannot decide when enough is enough, and you cannot replace structure with sincerity. And accepting those limits is not weakness, it's maturity. Because when men try to control the timeline of healing, they often re-traumatize the very thing they're trying to repair. And why does this work matter for the marriage? Because helping your wife heal is not about earning intimacy back. It really isn't. It's about becoming safe enough that intimacy can return freely, not forced. When men focus on who they are becoming rather than what they're trying to regain, something subtle shifts. Trust does not rush back in, but it stops retreating. Your wife may not suddenly feel light and relaxed, but she will begin to feel less braced. And over time, that difference changes everything. Now, if this episode has clarified why good intentions haven't always helped, that matters. This podcast gives you language. The program that we offer gives you structure, so men are supported in living this consistently and women are protected while that happens. Inside the program, this stage includes guidance for men without turning wives into coaches, clarity on responsibility without performance, protection against re-traumatization, and support for rebuilding safety slowly and sustainably. All the details are in the show notes for whenever you are ready. So helping didn't mean doing more. It meant becoming steadier, and steadiness did what words never could. In the next episode, we'll turn toward the shared question many couples face at this stage. Who are we now, and how do we live with what's changed? For now, let safety lead, let patience speak, and remember, healing is supported, not forced.